Yeah, it was intense. I mean, it was interesting. I did like the fact that it was a character that kind of life became very difficult. Like he'd been through all these experiences. It had a real effect on him. He really changed him. He was really hurt by it and guarded and angry and, self-destructive.
Nerd Reactor, roll out.
David, how's it going?
Good. How are you, John?
Good. So yeah, you've had just a long career of just acting and also just in entertainment and cinema. And with the good half, it's very it's like I would say because you're known for playing the lovable, fun-loving type characters, but you've also done other types of characters too. So this one with Rick, I wouldn't say he's like an antagonist, but just somewhere in between, kind of like an obstacle for the main leads. And so, what was that like playing these type of characters for these movies?
It was interesting. It's definitely a different sort of type of character than I typically get to play. He's really narcissistic and, you know, it was funny because I'm sort of a people pleaser in nature and, want to get along with everybody, want everyone to get along. So he's the opposite. He doesn't really care. He doesn't really have time for it. So it was interesting that my whole thought process was almost opposite of what I would think. But I think something was funny in the scene that was going on. Instead of reacting the way I would be annoyed by it or like, why are you guys like still talking? Certain things would come into my head that it's a funny way to look at the world when you approach it that way. Like I'm excited to be on a set working with these incredible artists and other actors and filmmakers, and so I'm sitting there and I'm excited, but my character has better things to do. He doesn't want to be here at all. He wants to leave. So to bring that into the scene, it's really funny. It's like you could stay in that, like everything kind of becomes annoying. Everything's like a little, a little, I don't know. It just answers a lot of questions.
Oh yeah, and because as an actor, when there's a script, you try to follow it and make sure you capture the just the vision and all of that. But I was wondering, like, sometimes if you ever have like, what if this character says this, and if if there's like any leeway with just, for example, for this movie.
Yeah, Robert, the director, was amazing, and he'd set up this environment where we'd rehearse and it'd be pretty loose. And if you found something or you said something and he's like clicked onto it, he's like, "Oh yeah, do that," and like let's even go further with it. And I had the opportunity to also see Nick Jonas' character Ren speaking with or having a scene with Brittany Snow's character and their brother and sister in it, and you could tell that they've known each other for a while and they had a real comfortable sort of relationship. So I heard for a second their kind of banter and how they kind of related to each other and how it was kind of quick and sarcastic and I was like, oh, that's really interesting because they're kind of quiet and like going back and forth in a very speedy thing. And my character had come in and he's kind of, louder and didn't care and like would just be blunt and like, not get any of the sort of sarcastic references, just like be constantly annoyed by everybody. So it's funny. It's a really, and also the script. The script was really sort of based on a real story. So I just had to lean back and be a part of it and kind of play it down.
Oh yeah. And yeah, because the good half, it's about dealing with grief. And I don't know about you, like what you want people to get out of this movie in terms of like the message, and because there's different ways to deal with it. Because in the movie, Nick Jonas, he deals with it differently than Brittany's character, and then also your character too. So I don't know if there's anything for you, like if you were like attached to the script and how you wanted people to like take away from that.
Yeah, I mean, your grief is such a personal thing and such a like huge experience when people have to go through it. But for me, I always like trying to think about like all the good times, all the incredible memories. And this is sort of like the title of the film, The Good Half, like all those times you spent with them. And if you can find some gratitude in it, it really helps to heal the process. But yeah, I hope people enjoy it and like they find some healing element to it or just can laugh. I mean, that alone is healing.
Oh yeah. And in the movie, your character, it's not not likable from the the main lead's perspective, but I think there's some charm to Rick, and there are parts where like, oh, he's kind of redeeming himself, and so that's what I like about the character, where there's like it's not too black and white. There's something there. So what was it about you, like when you read the script, like, oh, this is something I want to tackle?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I mean, all of his stuff comes from this real sort of self-serving place. So even like some of the moments in the film that are kind of like, oh, he's maybe not such a bad guy, come from convenience to him. Like he's actually either trying to make, them think he's a better guy than he is, or he's just trying to get stuff out of his house without, having to drop it off at the Goodwill. So, I mean, it was funny. Like, I don't know, being a playing a character that's kind of opposite of me was really an interesting pathway because I could just well, what would I do? Like, and I could almost point to the opposite, and that's what he'd do.
But yeah, because you played characters that are opposite of you before, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing that comes to mind would be, I don't know. Well, let's say Chris Hackett from The Quarry, because that character is not. It's you're spoiler alert. You're like a werewolf, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Well, I'm
So
somewhat of a werewolf in my past. In my past, no, I yeah, I've played a few of them. I played a serial killer once, which was a horrible experience, and I'll never do again. But
wow.
yeah, oh yeah, there's some things you learn like, oh, that's not what I want to do at all. But yeah, it's funny to play those different characters, though. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity to live these different lives and kind of tap in, work with all these different amazing people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to hear more about like what is it about like certain roles, like let's say the serial killer one. What is that? What about it? Like you're like, whoa, this is like too much, and compared to like the fun loving roles, like
Yeah, I mean, also played Sherlock Holmes once. There's certain things where it's just not. I don't know. It's not the right role for me to play, That specifically, one of the serial killers is an actual serial killer, so I didn't really take into consideration that there's family members and, there's still the pain of that. And, the character had a daughter. I mean, the person had a daughter. So that is one that I didn't think enough about, in going into it. So I don't often do that. I read a script and I think, oh, could see like play a different thing that I've never played before. But I didn't just go deeper into it, like, oh no, this guy's still in jail somewhere and he's
yeah.
committed all these horrible things. And then you have to go into that mindset, and I just don't enjoy it. Kind of feels heavy, and it's just like not what. And for something like Sherlock Holmes, he's such a complex character. You have to kind of go mad with it, and you have to like do an accent, and you have to like think on a different level, like you're constantly trying to figure everything out. And it's just difficult. You like put
Yeah.
yourself through. So kind of like sometimes you have to put yourself. I'm not like a method actor guy, but you do have to like bring your memories, and you're thinking about all this darkness and all these things. That's kind of painful.
Oh yeah. No, I understand like just the whole like realism to it, and then knowing that there's like real people involved. So yeah, I understand that perspective. And but well, at least well, okay. I'm happy that you're one of your most cherished roles, characters, that beloved characters, Dewey and Scream. So that's like up there. That's like uplifting. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, except for the 2022 movie where your character bites the dust. So
Yeah.
now now, like 2024, like now you're able to think back on that. Like, how do you feel now about his legacy and what happens to him at the end of that movie?
Yeah, it was intense. I mean, it was interesting. I did like the fact that it was a character that kind of life became very difficult. Like he'd been through all these experiences. It had a real effect on him. He really changed him. He was really hurt by it and guarded and angry and, self-destructive. So there were elements about that that I found really interesting in an arc of a character, and that he sort of didn't end up going the right path in a sense, and didn't hold on to you know some of the lighter sides of himself, and that he was wounded by life, so that really actually appealed to me. It was sad. I mean, I was sad to see the character go, and but it helped sort of relaunch it into this new sort of love of the series, which isn't really an honor, that people are rediscovering it, and we're getting this whole new fan base, and that it lives on. I love that Wes Craven's legacy lives on. This thing that he started, it's going to continue on. I think it was really difficult doing the film without him and missing him a lot. And but also like being grateful to have worked with him and being able to really cherish those incredible memories that we shared and the time that I did spend with him. And the more I think back about it, the more I wish I could have been like in the moment and really remembering these times, and really, you know, these things keep coming up and like, oh, I haven't watched back a lot of the old ones in a long time. So at some point to do that and try to think back on the behind the scenes moments would be cool.
Oh yeah. And I want to ask you something like maybe a silly question, but not movie related. But do you think you'll ever get back into the realm of wrestling? Either not like participating in it, but maybe just something else like in another capacity.
I mean, I love the wrestling world. So yeah, I just recently went to AEW and I saw Jeff Jarrett and Jack Perry, and just seeing all my friends in RJ City, like these people that are I love, that are amazing, that I've had this history with. So I don't know. There's never it's always like something you're part of that world. If I see them at a convention or something, or if I see them maybe something in the show, it's all, ultimately it is part of show business. It's a really important part, in my opinion. So to be part of the show is always fun. It's just a lot more fun than just, I don't know. I also like being a spectator in wrestling. It's also a really fun part of the show.
Oh yeah. And I guess like for my last question, because you're working on all types of movies, is there like one role like in the future that you want to tackle that you haven't really done yet, or maybe you want to do more of that type of role?
I mean, I would love, like Breaking Bad's amazing. Like where Bryan Cranston, like he found a role like that he could really show different side and really have a series or something that he could expand, like have a real journey with this character. So something in that world where I'd be able to really have a character that lasted, that I could really, show different sides. I mean, people tend to put you in boxes in Hollywood and think like, oh, you're the comedic guy, or you're this or that, or you're that. And it's just not the case. I just did a film with my friend Danny A, who it's called The Perfect Gamble. And he was I've known him for years. We've done 4 movies together. He goes, David, this is the first time that we've done a character where I'm like, oh, that's my buddy Davey. Like, but I don't think a lot of people know who you are that way. Like, that this is like that you even have they don't even understand your actual character, you know what I mean? Which is funny to be in this business so long and for people to still be kind of like, oh wow, yeah, he can do that, or
Oh
it's
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Yeah, I get it, yeah, with the on-screen persona, 'cause that's what like people see. But yeah, definitely, I'll definitely have to check that one out. And David, yeah, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. And
You too.
yeah, I can't wait till people check out this movie, The Good Half.
Thanks a lot, John. I appreciate you.
All right, take care.